Hello and welcome to our 46th session wherein we are going to complete our football game by adding an user interface, scoreboard and also the game over screen. In this session, once you complete this game, so it is going to look like this. You can see a heading at the bottom and player score on left side and computer score on the right side. When the enemy ball hits the enemy goal post, you can see when I score, I get player 1 and now computer has scored 2 goals. I can see computer has scored 5 goals now. So you can see the score changing here, and player is 1, computer is 6, and anyone who reaches 6 goals, he will be declared the winner and the computer win screen will appear and you will have a restart button. And if I click on the restart button, the game is going to start once again. I am going to stop the playback, and in this session we are going to add this user interface. Now as usual, first launch Unity Hub, come into the projects. You can start from the previous session football_game02. If you doesn't have this old project with you, do not worry, you can start even with a new project. Come into the template and choose Universal 3D SRP. Project name football_game3, and in eUnity project, click on create project. As the new project is getting loaded, come to YouTube video page or the e-learning page. If you scroll down and in the description, if you click on more, you are provided with a Patreon page link. Click on this link. It will bring you to the Junior Programmer Series Patreon page. And if you scroll down, you can see this 46 football game bug fixes completed.UnityPackage file. Click on this to download it. If required, download Sartvic_layout.wlt file also. Once Unity is launched with the new project, you can come into the project panel, select the Readme file, come into the inspector, and here you have remove Readme assets. Click on this. In the confirmation window, click on proceed. We do not need this input system_action file as of now. So right click and choose delete, and in the confirmation box click on delete. Now if your screen layout doesn't look like what you are seeing here, on the right side you can come into the layout panel and choose the Sartvic layout. If you doesn't have Sartvic layout here, come to load layout from file, and in the downloads select Sartvic_layout.wlt file and click on open. Your layout and the layout that you see in the video will be the same. Now coming into the project panel, select assets, right click, choose import package, custom package, browse to the download folder and select the 46 football game bug fixes completed.UnityPackage file which you just now downloaded. Select it and click on open. In the import Unity package dialog box, see that all is selected and click on the import button. Now once it is imported, in the asset, open the scenes and you have football_game. Double click to open it. We don't need this sample scene. Select it, right click and choose delete, and in the confirmation window click on delete. Let us add our user interface component, and we are going to do it in the hierarchy window. Right click, come into UI, and first I am going to add a canvas, and I am going to call this as game_UI and press enter. When I add a canvas, an event system will be added automatically. Now I will select game_UI, right click, and I am now going to come into UI and I am going to create a panel, and I am going to call this panel as scoreboard. Now coming into the scene view, I will come on this gizmo, right click and choose back view, and then I will double click on scoreboard to have a view of this. In rect transform, I am going to set its bottom margin. I am going to move it up. I will move it to around 360 so that you see this white panel on the top. In the image color, increase its alpha level a little more, 175, and then I will close this. Inside the scoreboard, first I am going to add a heading, the name of my game. So I will right click and I will again come into the UI, and I am now going to add text Mesh Pro. The TMP or the Text Mesh Pro is by default not installed in Unity, and I have to import it. So now if I click on import TMP essentials, all this will be downloaded from the internet and imported, and if required you can also install TMP examples and extra by clicking here, but this is not required for our project. I will close the TMP importer, and now with text TMP selected, I will come into text input, call this as football game from Sartvic. I will come into the alignment and I will center align it. Select this panel, and in the scene view, if I zoom, I can just drag this and make it bigger so that the entire text fits in one line, and using this gizmo I will drag it and place it to the center. And also text TMP selected, I will press F2 and I will call this as heading text. Make the font bold. I have to slightly make the size a little more bigger, and also I will drag it and align it to the center. I will come into vertex color. I will choose a black color and close this. Set its font size to 24 and press enter. In the scene view, I will move it down along the y axis so that in y axis it is at around -10 and in x it is positioned at 174. I will come back to the scoreboard, right click, and I am going to create another UI text mesh pro element, and I am now going to call this as player score text, and I am going to drag this onto my left hand here. In inspector, in text input, I will enter player : and I will set the score to 0. See that it is left aligned, font size again to 24, and I am going to make it bold. I will come into the scene view, press F to zoom to this area. I will adjust the size. I will slightly move it down by -10. I am going to come into vertex color and I am going to select a dark green color for the player. I am going to now select this player score text, press Ctrl D to duplicate, and I will press F2 and I will call this as computer score text. I will drag it. I will just zoom out with middle mouse, press pan it. I will drag this to the right hand corner. In the inspector, I will come to this alignment and align it as right align. And in the text input, I will change it to computer : and I will set its value to 0. And also I will slightly drag this so that it fits in like this. And in the vertex color, I will click here and select dark blue color for my computer score. So I have the player score on the left and computer score on the right. In the hierarchy panel, I will close the scoreboard, select game UI, right click, and I am going to come into UI and I am going to add another panel. I am going to call this as Game Over panel. And with this panel selected, I will come into the scene view and press F to have a full view of this. I will come into rect transform. Along the left, I will move it by 320 units. Along right, I will move it by 320 units. Then from top, I will move it 120 units. And from bottom, I will move it by 120 units. I will just zoom in by rolling the mouse up. Then I will come into Game Over panel. I will right click, come into UI and add text mesh pro. Call this as result text. Coming into the inspector text input, I am going to say this as computer wins. Coming into the panel, I will drag it and make it a little wider. In the alignment, I will set it to center align. I will just drag it in the scene view and place it right at the center of my screen like this so that it is exactly at the center. Coming back to inspector in vertex color, I am going to select the blue color, set the font size to bold. I will slightly increase this area size and also drag it and center align it. We will come into Game Over panel, right click, and I am now going to come into the UI and I am going to add button text mesh pro. I will select it and I am going to call this button as restart button. I will open this restart button, select text TMP, press F2 and I will call this as restart text. Come into inspector and instead of button, I will call this as restart. I am going to select back my restart button and I will reduce the width to around 120. In the button color, I am going to choose the normal color to a dark green color like this. I will set the highlighted color to a lighter green color like this. Select the restart text here in the hierarchy. Here in the vertex color, I will click here and I am going to select a white color and close it. I will select the restart button, come into the scene view, drag it and place it a little to the down like this. I have my game over panel also ready. I will close it, and initially when the game is running, I want this to be switched off. So I will come into the inspector and I will switch it off. I will now come into the file and I am going to save this. Our user interface is now ready and we have to make it work using the game logic and the script. So for this purpose, in the hierarchy, to manage the score, game over and the winning statement, in the hierarchy we right click and create an empty object. We are going to call this as GameManager. I will come into the transform and I will reset its position to 0, 0, 0. Coming into this asset challenge 4 folder, open it, come into the script, open this, right click and create a new mono behavior script, and I am going to call this as GameManager and press enter. Allow the script to get compiled. You can see the script is getting compiled now, and once the script is compiled, drag this GameManager and attach it to the GameManager game object in the hierarchy. So you can see the script is now attached. Next, I am going to select this GameManager script and double click to open this. And if it asks to trust the author, click on yes, I trust the author. Now in this case, we are going to use not just this Unity engine, we are also going to use Text Mesh Pro. After the first line, I will press enter, use TM Pro. TM Pro is nothing but Text Mesh Pro. End it with semicolon. We will be using a restart button to start the game from the beginning, and for this we need a component called Scene Management. So I will press enter and I will call using Unity engine period Scene Management and end it with semicolon. Coming into this public class GameManager mono behavior, we are going to use this as a singleton script. We are going to create a static type of game object component here. You already know what is public. Public means this component can be accessed from anywhere in the game. The second keyword I add here is static. So when I add static, this means that there can be only one instance of this GameManager component in my entire game. I am going to set the type of this to GameManager, which is nothing but name of my script, and I am going to call this as instance. And after this, I will add open close flower bracket, and inside this, I will give permission to other scripts to use this. I call get semicolon. This means that other scripts can read the value from the script. Second, I am going to set this as private set and end it with semicolon. This means that the variables and other values that will be declared in this GameManager.cs cannot be changed from other external scripts. I am going to press enter. First, I am going to declare a few variables, public, and the type of variable is an integer, and I am going to call this as player score, and I will set its initial value to 0 and end it with semicolon. Enter, and I will declare another public int, and I will call this as computer score, and I will set its value to 0 and end it with semicolon. To know the winning score, another public int variable, and I will call this as win score, and I will set its value to 6 and end it with semicolon. Above this public int line, I will add open close square bracket, and inside this I will call a header, and in open close brackets I am going to add a string here to inform in the inspector all these variables are related to score. Press enter. I will add one more line gap, public, a different type of variable now, which is TMP underscore text. Call this as player core text and end it with semicolon. Press enter, public, and again TMP underscore text. Call this as computer core text and end it with semicolon. Then next, public TMP underscore text. Call this as result text and end it with semicolon. Finally, declare public a game object game over panel and end it with semicolon. I will come above this and I will press tab add open close square bracket, and inside this I will again call the header, and in open close brackets inside this I will add inverted comma, and I am going to call this as UI components. Finally, last variable that I need is public, and the type of this variable is bool, and this is nothing but IsGameOver. It will have either true or false value. I will add open close flower bracket, and this value can be read from outside. So I will set it to get. However, IsGameOver cannot be set to false or true from any other script. So I am going to set this as private set and end it with semicolon. Our declaration of all variables have been now done. In case of singleton scripts using static keyword, we have to first set this particular object equal to this instance. This we do it when the game gets loaded. After this public bool IsGameOver, I will press enter twice and I will call private void. I will call the function awake. I am going to check for a condition. If instance, the variable that we have declared for this game manager is not equal to null, that is if it is not empty, and instance if it is not equal to this object, then I will press enter, add open close flower bracket, and inside this flower bracket I have to destroy this game object because this cannot be used in multiple instances. So if it is not set to this, then the game object will be destroyed, semicolon, and in the next line you have to return and end it with semicolon. In the next line, I am going to set instant variable equal to this game object and end it with semicolon. After this, I will come into the start code block here. As soon as the game starts, IsGameOver value will be set to false and end it with semicolon. If I will add open close bracket, game over panel is not equal to null if it is not empty. Since it has only one line of code, instead of adding open close flower bracket, I will directly type game over panel set active, and in open close bracket end it with semicolon will be set to false. The game over panel that we have created in the UI will not be visible. Another function that I have to call is come below this update, press enter twice, private, because I will be using it only in this script, void called as RefreshUI. Add open close brackets. It has no parameter. Press enter and add open close flower bracket. And inside this, if first I am going to check my component player score text that I have declared, if it is not equal to null, player score text, and I will call the text component of this text mesh pro, and I will set it equal to a string. Here I will call this as player colon, and here I am going to add a variable. In open close flower bracket, the variable that I am going to call player core, and when I am calling a variable inside a string, before this string I have to add $1 and here the variable I am going to now call is player score. I will end it with semicolon. Call this if statement, and next I am going to call my computer score text, and if this game object is not equal to null, then after the close bracket I will now call computer score text, and the text value of this component will be equal to again $, add inverted comma, and inside this I will call computer colon, and in open close flower bracket the variable that I am going to call here is my computer score. So I will end it with semicolon. So this RefreshUI function I am going to call it in my start. As soon as the game starts, I am going to run this RefreshUI function, and I will add open close flower bracket and end it with semicolon. Scrolling down below this RefreshUI function, I will press enter twice and I will declare another private void method and I am going to call this as GameOver. I will add open close bracket and for this I am going to give a parameter. The parameter is a string variable and I will call it as message. If I press enter, add open close flower bracket, and whenever this GameOver function is called, then IsGameOver, this variable will now be set to true, end it with semicolon, and then if I will add bracket, the condition is if result text not equal to null, then I am going to set my result text value will be equal to the message in the parameter and end it with semicolon. Similarly, if I will add open close bracket and inside this I am now going to call my GameOver panel, and if it is not equal to null, then GameOver panel set active in open close bracket, end it with semicolon, and this will be set to true, meaning the GameOver panel will become visible. I also have to declare one more private function which is going to check who has won the game. After this private void GameOver, I will press enter and I will call private void and I am going to call this method as CheckWin. There are no parameters. I will add open close bracket, press enter, add open close flower bracket, and to check the winner, if I will add open close bracket, if the player score greater than or equal to win score, then I will call this GameOver function and in open close bracket end it with semicolon, and inside this the string that I am going to enter is player wins and end it with an exclamation mark. And I will press enter again, and if in open close bracket computer score, if it is greater or equal to win score, that is if this is equal to 6, then I am going to call this GameOver function and the parameter I am passing it now is add open close bracket and in inverted comma I am going to say a computer wins and end it with exclamation mark and end this entire line with semicolon. Whenever the enemy ball goes and hits the player post or the enemy post, I want to add the score. So for that, I will come up and after this void update closing flower bracket, I will enter twice and I am now going to call a public function void and I am going to call this as AddPlayerGoal. Add open close bracket, press enter, add open close flower bracket. And here, when this function is called, first it checks for a condition. If is game over, if the game is over, then simply return. Nothing is going to happen. If the game is not over, then player score will be incremented by one value. Add semicolon. I have to call the function RefreshUI, add open close bracket and end it with semicolon, and then I have to again call this function CheckWin to find out whether who has won, add open close bracket and end it with semicolon. Similar to this, with the same structure, I will press enter twice and I will declare another function public void, and this time I will call this as AddComputerGoal and I will add open close bracket, press enter, add open close flower bracket. Inside this again here, if the condition is game over, if it is true, then it should return without doing anything, or else for the computer score I have to add 1 plus plus, end it with semicolon, again run RefreshUI, add open close bracket and end it with semicolon, and also run CheckWin function and add open close bracket and end it with semicolon. And I will scroll down and after this CheckWin close bracket, I will press enter twice and I am going to declare my last function, which is again a public. void, and I am going to call this as restart. Add open close bracket and add open close flower bracket, and inside this, when restart function is called, I will set a time lag, that is time period, time scale, and I am going to set its value equal to 1f semicolon. I am going to call my scene manager. I am going to call load scene, and in open close bracket and semicolon I will end it. And in this open close bracket, I will call the scene manager, and in scene manager get active scene, add open close bracket period. I will call this build index. So this is going to reload my scene. So with all these functions declared, I will come to file and save my GameManager.cs script. Come back to Unity, allow the script to compile. We doesn't have any errors. In the hierarchy, come and select the game manager. You can see that currently the UI components are not connected. First, you have the player score text. I will come and open this game underscore UI component. I will open the scoreboard and I will drag player score text from here and attach it to this player score text component. And for computer score, I will drag computer score text and I will attach it to this component. Then I will close the scoreboard, open game over panel which is hidden, and in this you have result text. Drag it and attach it to result text, and you have game over panel. For this, close this game over panel, select this entire game over panel game object and attach it to this game over panel. Go to file and save it. The actual collision of my ball with the goalpost happens in my enemy script. I have to now open my enemy script, and if you come into this script, the collision is happening in this on collision enter method, and if the other collision object is enemy goal, then in this open flower bracket, if I am going to call now my game manager period instance, because this is a static singleton script, I need not add any reference at the top with a variable. Just like in start you have declared enemy RB, get component, player goal, get game object. We need not add this reference. We can directly call this game manager period instance, and if this is not equal to null, then there is just one line of code that I have to mention. I have to just come to game manager period instance, and in this I am now going to call add player goal function, open close brackets and end it with semicolon. So when my object hits enemy goal, I am going to add 1 point to my player. Now similarly, if it hits player goal, then in this open flower bracket of this bottom else if code block, I press enter. If add open close bracket, again here I will call game manager period instance. If it is not equal to null, then game manager, and in that I will call instance, and now in this I am going to add, I will call this AddComputerGoal function, add open close brackets and end it with semicolon. So these two functions are called and score is added either to the player or to the computer when the collision happens. And now one more thing here in enemy script is, as soon as the game is over, the enemies should not keep on moving after the game is over. I will come in the update as the first line after the open flower bracket. I will test for a condition. If I will call this again this game manager instance, if it is not equal to null, and I will add 2 ampersand sign, this game manager period instance, in that if IsGameOver is true, then just return this movement of the ball, everything will be removed. I will select this line from this enemy file, copy this In enemy XCS, now I am going to save this, and I will also open my spanmanager.cx file also. I will come into my update. See, as soon as the game is over, I want the spanning of the enemy to stop. So in the update, after the open flower bracket, I will press enter, press Ctrl V and paste this line, so that when the game is over, spanning stops. So with this, I will come to file and save this. With all the script files saved, I will come back to Unity, allow the script to get compiled. And once it is compiled, and one last thing that we have to add here is the functionality to our restart button. If I come into the hierarchy, come into Game UI, and if I open the Game Over panel, we have provided one restart button. The button is there, but there is no functionality for this. So in the inspector, if I scroll down, you have OnClick event. I click on plus, and here in the object from the hierarchy, drag GameManager and attach it here. And I will come into this function, click here, come into GameManager, and I will select restart, so that when this button is clicked, the restart method in my GameManager will be called. Now I will go to file and save this. Now if I play the game and if I check it, so when I hit the goal, see, I got 1 score, and similarly now the computer hit 2, the computer hit 3, 4, 5. Once the computer goal reaches 6, you can see computer wins, and you see the restart button here. And when I click on the restart button, a fresh game is going to start. So now all the logic in this game is working fine. So now I will stop the playback. Now I have to publish this game to Unity Play. So go to file and come into build profile, and from Windows select web and click on switch platform. It will take some time to import all the script and switch to the web publishing platform. Now once all the script for the web is compiled, click on the player setting, and in the company name, give your name and leave the product game as football. If I come into resolution and presentation, and I will set the resolution to 1270 by 720, and I will scroll down and I will select progressive web application, and I will come into publish setting, and in compression I will disable compression. With all this setting done, I will close the player setting, and here in the web setting I will come into open scene list. I select this sample scene and choose remove selection and click on add open scene. I will click here and come back to the web platform. Click on the build button, create a folder web, select the folder and wait till this entire game is built. Once it is built, open the web folder. You have the index.html and other files here. Select all the file, right click and choose compress to zip file. Once it is compressed, come to your browser and type Unity Play. Come to this play.unity.com website, come and click on this right side avatar and click on sign in. Sign in with your username and ID, and then you have this upload your game button, click on it. Now click on the upload button. Now come to the folder where you built your web application, select the zip file and click on open. As it builds, in the title, give it the name as football game, then add description, use arrow or WASD keys. You can also add a thumbnail image, scroll down and click on the save button. So your game is now ready to play. You can just copy this link and share it to everyone. So with this, we have successfully completed this football game, and in our next session, we are going to explore more about the user interface.